So I've had a few people hit me up about how I do my boost control setup on my truck. Holley does a very good job on their website explaining how to set up the dual solenoid system. If you look, I think it's under V5 revisions. If you look that up, they do a really good diagram and step-by-step instructions to set that up. So if you've watched some of my other videos, you know I have a twin turbo. So I have two wastegates, and in those wastegates I have 10-pound springs. And the numbers here on the screen, you know, they're just an example. This isn't typically what I run, and I wouldn't expect you to just plug these numbers in and try to run them. I don't know what your system is or what you've got it set up for. So I have three different ways that I control my takeoffs and how fast I ramp in power and things to control off the line. In my boost versus time, as you can see, I have it with the 10-pound springs in the wastegates. I'm adding 6 pounds on top of that at the leave in this example, and then pretty quickly it gets up to the 10 pounds on top of the gate. So if you have a pretty efficient system, whatever you add on top of your gate with CO2 should be a 1-to-1 with what you have with your wastegate. So in this example, I would be making 20 pounds of boost through most of the pass. Another way that I control it, if I don't use this boost versus time, sometimes I will change my nitrous instead, and I have my nitrous set up. I have up to 150 shot of nitrous that I use. It helps spool the turbos, and then I also use it to control some of the air temp, inlet air temp. So the second way that I also can control how much power I leave with and control my leave is my nitrous setup. And in this example, you have one axis as your percent of the 150 shot there on the left, and then on the bottom is your time. So in this example, I'm leaving with 35% of that 150 shot, and pretty quickly in is the full 150. That again is just I put real simple example numbers in here to show a lot of what I do with the nitrous is more about cooling the air temps than it is about a lot of horsepower added. But I am capable, if I need to, using that all 150 shot. Here on my timing retard, so you'll see that we have timing retard, and it's showing time there. So I'm taking out 3, in this example, 3 degrees of timing on the leave, and then I'm going from 3 to 5 to 6 pretty quickly, and then the 6 degrees of timing you would normally take out on 150 shot of nitrous. Again, that's your system, not mine. This is just an example. And then the third example that I have here of the way that I can control the leave, how hard I leave or how soft I leave, is my boost builder function and how much boost I'm actually building and leaving when I let the trans brake out. In this example, I've got a fixed timing rate of 14 degrees, and my max activation is 8 psi, so I'm looking at making no more than 8 pounds of boost in this example, and I'm not engaging it until after 2 pounds of boost in the system. So I'll leave more close to 12 to 13 pounds of boost. But again, these are all numbers that I'm just giving examples with, not for you to just plug these into your system and expect it to get the same result or not blow your engine up. And this is a second way of doing that boost builder function. Sometimes you will run into situations where some setups don't really like just to set at a fixed amount of timing and just jerk all that timing out at once. So what I did is I went into the 1D tables in the Holley system, and I created a table, and my left axis is timing offset, and my bottom axis you'll see is the boost. So what I've done is I've slowly started to take timing out gradually instead of taking it all out at once and just jerking it out. So as you start to come up on the converter and you start to come up on your RPMs, you'll gradually start to take more and more timing out of the system, and that sometimes will keep your truck or your car from one, just falling on its face or getting on and off of the two-step too many times. It'll just start to go on and off, on and off, on and off, because it's not likened to the amount of timing that was just jerked out of it at once. So sometimes it's better to set up one of these 1D tables and do it that way. So this is a quick diagram that I've set up to kind of show how I've set up the system in my truck. You see the CO2 bottle that I have in my truck. It goes into the side of the first solenoid, and that will be your supply solenoid. And then you tee the two together and you'll have your vent solenoid and your supply solenoid. So you have the CO2 coming in and trying to put whatever you've set in the Holley system, whatever the system is supposed to see on top of that gate, using the little Holley 100 psi sensor that you see there just before the T where it goes to the two waste gates. As the CO2 goes through the adding or to the supply side solenoid, as soon as it reaches what you've targeted, it'll actually start to vent then, and it'll maintain itself at that number. If it's 10 or 6 or 5 or whatever the number is that you've put in, hopefully you'll be able to maintain that pretty good in this system. I've had it set up like this for a long time, throughout all the different setups that I've had, single turbo and now twin turbo, and it works really well. So other people have done it different ways. You can do that with a single solenoid, you can do it with a double solenoid. I think Holley's got new solenoids out that you can do both the vent and the supply through one system. So it's really a personal preference at that point.